Live from beautiful downtown Bastrop, it's time for the Stage Select, starring Julian Titus and Justin Ham.
What could this possibly be? Seems a lot like a podcast. Wonder what specifically. Talking about video games. With your hosts, you're in good hands. Not more of the same. Now we'll jump right in. So expect the unexpected and more. Now we'll get grooving. There ain't always gonna walk through the door. There just might be some strategy in this. Just having fun with our special guest. Time for Stage Select.
And here are your hosts, Julian Titus and Justin Ham.
Welcome, one and all, to the Stage Select. I'm Julian Titus.
And I'm Justin Ham. Welcome to this thing, whatever this is. Corn dogs are complicated.
What's complicated about them?
Not really anything, but you ever tried to explain to someone that the hot dog on a stick is a corn dog that does not know that?
I've never met someone like that.
Well, let me tell you.
Wait, hold on. Because there are just places where you just get a hot dog on a stick that is just a hot dog on a stick.
But the named hot dog on a stick.
That is a corn dog, yeah.
It is a corn dog.
Yeah.
And then they think you're fucking with them because they're
That's like the original one, isn't it?
Yeah, that came out before corn dogs. Corn dogs were made afterwards because they wanted to. Somebody else was like, "Well, I want to make that too." It's not fucking hard. This is the name brand thing. We can't use that because they probably had some sort of trademark or something on it, so they had to name it something else. So they was like, "Well, it's cornmeal or whatever. Fuck it, it's corn dog."
Yeah,
it works.
Which I think is a much better name, honestly.
Honestly, yeah, it is. It really is. But
hot dog on a stick is a lot to say.
It is.
It's a mouthful,
and
much like a hot dog on a stick.
And it's also deceiving because it could go either way, right?
Yeah.
Because if you don't know, because most people know corn dogs. Corn dogs are kind of everywhere. There's even mini corn dogs. Pretty good. I don't know if you've had a mini corn dog. Pretty all right.
Corn dog.
Yeah, they're good.
Look who you're talking to.
I know. I should know that. But yeah, no, pretty good mini corn dogs. And you know, the corn dog has far surpassed the hot dog on a stick, even though the hot dog on a stick has its own establishment still. Mm-hmm. I recently looked up the menu because this became a whole thing where I was trying to explain it to someone, and they thought I was fucking with them, and I was like, no, it's a corn dog, and it's one of those bits that you think the person involved is just also in on the bit, but they're not, like, where they're just like, and it's pretty, they're like, okay, so if I go to hot dog on a stick and I order a hot dog on a stick, what do I get? You'll get a corn dog. Okay, that's not what I wanted. A hot dog on a stick. No, well, that's a corn dog.
But there are places where you will just get a hot dog on a stick, though,
and see, Justin, that makes sense.
Yeah, at certain fairs and whatnot.
And yeah, which, you know what? Honestly, that's less deceiving. You know,
yes,
it really is.
But if I went to go order a hot dog on a stick, like sight unseen, and I got just a hot dog on a stick, I'd be fucking pissed,
right?
Because I want the corn dog.
You want the corn dog?
Yeah.
So do they have to change the name? Is it like, no, seriously, hot dog on a stick?
Yeah, well, see, around these parts, like, hot dog on a stick actually is just a plain hot dog on a stick.
Okay.
Because otherwise it's just corn dog everywhere.
Yeah.
But I am aware that, like,
it's an establishment. It's an establishment. They have a menu. There isn't much on their menu, by the way. It's just corn dogs, French fries, and like, they have cheese on a stick, and what's the other?
I like food on a stick. I'm not gonna lie. I like to go to the Ren Fair and eat various foods on sticks.
I take a very Larry David approach to this, where I don't like anything on sticks. I think it's corn dogs are fine, but I don't. But not. I'm going to steal the bit now. It's like, what then what do I do with this? What am I just gonna walk around with this all day? I just have this stick now. What am I supposed to do with this?
You throw it in the nearest trash receptacle.
Then he proceeds to demonstrate a golf swing and poke someone's eye out. Curb Your Enthusiasm's a great show. It's a great show.
I'll take your word for it.
It's good.
I don't think Larry David's humor is my humor. Because I'm also not a Seinfeld fan.
It's way better than Seinfeld is.
Okay.
Way
Fair
better.
enough.
I like Seinfeld. Curb Your Enthusiasm way better.
Well, speaking of trash food, Justin.
All right.
I like to do a convenience store run usually before the show. We actually did it. We took a break because we recorded the first episode of Cinemorons before we did this episode.
Yes. That
will be coming for executive producer patrons soon-ish. I don't know. I don't know exactly what I'm going to do with it editing wise. Like I want to put clips and stuff in there, but it depends on what clips I can find.
Yeah.
So we shall see. But we took a break and I went down to the local convenience store to get a soda pop and some snacks. And goddamn, dude, like Little Debbie is like expensive now.
Are they?
Or like, well, Little Debbie and Hostess.
Yeah,
it's
they
like
are
$3
expensive.
a pop for shit now.
Yeah. It depends. Depends on where you're at. Yeah.
Like for no matter what the product is, it's like $2.99. It's like,
that's about right. Yeah. I think where I work, a lot of them are $2, something like that.
They didn't used to be that.
Yeah, I bought something today. I'm trying to think of how much it was. I bought a double-decker cream pie and an apple juice because, to balance each other out. And I think it was a total of $3. So the oatmeal cream pie was more than the apple juice was. So there's that.
Yeah. No, I think a double-decker oatmeal cream pie is like almost $3 here, if not $3.
Yeah, it was at where I work. It's weird. It fluctuates because some things are way more than they are outside, and then some things are way less. Like Monster energy drink is $1.35 where I work.
Well, yeah, they need you to be hopped up on that Monster.
Exactly. And everything else is like, and then but like a Starbucks, like one of those like Starbucks energy drink things. I don't know if you've ever seen those. Those are like $4. Like,
I've never even seen one of those.
Oh yeah, they come in a can. I don't know. They're around. They're pretty good. I tend to get them after work.
Around.
Yeah, but they're around. But yeah, it fluctuates wildly on what costs more and what doesn't. And yeah, for the reasons you said, yeah, the energy drinks probably less because they're like, oh well, we got them here. We gotta hop them up on some shit. So,
yeah. How far away do you think we are from people doing line work or assembly work and stuff like that, just being like hooked up to some sort of like machine, like drip feeding go-go juice into them?
They'll replace everybody with robots before then. So.
You think so?
Yeah.
You don't think that's the stopgap before the robots get good enough to replace them?
They're probably not. Like,
okay.
Like in my experience, no, they probably would be ready to do that already. So
yeah,
if they wanted to.
Yeah, I found out this week that with the new job, I am officially middle class in Texas.
Nice.
But I'm still poor in Colorado.
Well, yeah, depends on your state. Let me tell you, I've learned that from moving states before.
Yeah, I think the only reason that Texas is not like more expensive than Colorado is simply because it's so large. Because Texas encompasses so many like tax brackets. Because there are some poor ass places.
That makes sense.
In
yeah,
Texas,
that makes
but
sense.
there's also Austin and Dallas and Houston.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, so here we are.
Here we are.
Got more energy than normal because I got the news that I am to work remote until further notice. So
there you go.
I don't know how long that's going to be, but it sounded like it's going to be a bit because shocker, they weren't actually prepared for this sudden shift in day-to-day business.
course.
like many places are.
Yeah.
So, feeling pretty good about that. I wanted to kick things off before we like get into the meat of the show, just with like I don't do this very often on the show.
Okay.
But I do try to do it like a couple times a year, which is just like, hey, it helps the show out a lot when you like share it with friends and shit and whatnot.
Yeah, sure.
The show is on like a steady decline month after month, which tells me a few things. And I should say, like, these numbers do not encompass like our patrons or people like on Spotify, right? So and YouTube. It's so that's separate stuff.
Yeah.
And I can kind of get a good feeling for like how many subscribers we have based on like how many downloads we already have when I look at it like on Wednesday morning before I promote it. And it makes me think that like a lot of people who listen to the show aren't subscribed to the show, which is like a wild way to listen to podcasts.
That is pretty wild. Yeah. That's kind of nuts.
I don't know what we need to do to get you to subscribe to us, but
By the way, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss a notification.
I know what we can do to get people to subscribe. What we need to do, Julian.
bikini car wash.
No. We need to
Oh, God.
talk more about sports.
Okay.
Welcome to Sports Talk. This is a talk where we have about sports. That's
Talk where we have about sports.
Yeah, yep. That's what those are the words I used. This just in sports news, the Milwaukee Brewers are still a baseball team. You're welcome. I thought they were dead. I would have never expected them to still be around. How does Milwaukee still have anything? It's crazy to me when you think about it. It's the city in the world like unless you live in Wisconsin, which I know we know one person in Wisconsin, but I don't think about Milwaukee ever. You know, how often have you thought about Milwaukee, Julian?
Well, when I'm watching Wayne's World, right? When Alice Cooper's on.
Sure.
Milwaukee.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Other than that,
The good land.
yeah. Other than that, I don't really think about it.
No.
But they're out. They got a baseball team. They got a basketball team too. Fucking.
They
crazy.
should have a team. They should have a team called the Milwaukee Lights. Because to me, Milwaukee sounds like a beer.
Yeah, because of old Milwaukee.
Oh, there is a beer. Oh,
Yeah,
well,
there
you
is.
go.
Yeah. It's old Milwaukee. I don't know if they still. I'm pretty sure they still sell old Milwaukee. It was like it was kind of a cheaper beer. It's the alcoholic's beer of choice because it doesn't cost very much. My uncle drank a lot of it. The Brewers, they're still out there playing baseball.
There you go.
You're all welcome. And that's Sports Talk.
That'll reel them in.
That'll get it.
Yeah.
I'm confident. I'm confident. Oh, you know, on that topic, hold on a second, Julian. Hold on a second. I have to take my headphones off for this, but just, you know, entertain people for just a second. Hold on.
Oh, God. Oh, no. Well, I was well, that was really fast. I guess I don't really have time to entertain the people.
All right. So I just got this hat from Abramo. It's a Minnesota Timberwolves hat. So,
Cool.
you know, yeah, it looks pretty good. I like
Yeah.
it. You know,
Man, I didn't realize that he could walk from Minnesota to Texas that fast. That's impressive.
yeah, no, it is pretty impressive. It is pretty impressive, you know, like, but then again, you never know with that guy. I mean, he might have just won it big in Minnesota. I don't know. And
You wanted to call it Milwaukee.
I did want to call it Milwaukee. You
Yeah.
know, I did, but
I mean, they're interchangeable at the end of the day.
one's a city and one's a state, so not really.
Completely interchangeable at the end of the day.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, no, it's a
Look,
nice
Justin,
hat.
when you live in Texas, nothing else really matters.
That's true.
Like, I got to be really pro Texas now that I work for the state.
That's
See,
true. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's everything's bigger there.
It is.
Yeah. Have you bought a Texas shaped cutting board yet?
Not yet.
You need to do that.
Yeah.
They sell them.
I need to invest in some belt buckles.
Yeah. And a Texas shaped cutting board.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of things in the shape of Texas, apparently, at gift shops for.
Oh, yeah.
there. Yeah.
I got to say, though, because Texas is pretty big on state pride,
Mm-hmm.
but I think Colorado might have us beat. Because in Texas, it's a lot of souvenirs for people visiting Texas.
That's fair. Yeah.
But not a lot of Texans displaying Texas pride other than like sports teams.
Right. Yeah.
You'll get the you can all go to hell and I will go to Texas bumper stickers.
Sure.
And some of like, something about I was born here or something like that. But not all that not all that much. Colorado, you will see bumper stickers and people wearing Colorado t-shirts almost everywhere you look.
I mean, there you go.
Without fail.
Yeah.
It's kind of amazing. Especially because I don't think their flag is as nice.
I don't even know what it is. So yeah. That says a lot.
But yeah, I think they might have us beat.
Yeah. Apparently, they have a cool airport in Denver. Is it Denver that has the cool airport, or like the really weird one with all the conspiracy theory shit in it?
Oh, I've only been to the Denver airport a couple times, but I was in such a hurry to get through it that I didn't.
It's one of those, if I remember correctly, and I think it was Giant Bomb that talked about this forever ago. Like the Denver airport has like a bunch of really weird, like almost like satanic shit, like statues and shit around it or something like that. Like it's real weird, like in culty. But like you have, like if you're just glancing at it, you wouldn't notice. But it's when you really like stop and look at it and go, wait a second, what the fuck is that? Like it starts to get really weird. I think it's Denver.
I'm about halfway through ContraPoint's current, her newest video about conspiracy theories, so I'll have to get back to you on that.
Well, there you go.
Maybe she covers it.
Yeah, who can say?
But no, yeah, getting back to it, like, sharing the show helps a lot. One thing that I think would really help out, like, invite, if you have people that are into gaming and like they're chill, send them to the Discord. Even if they don't listen to the show, like, I think it's a pretty nice Discord. And
it's a good Discord,
like, yeah. And I think if they like hang out with some of y'all and just like see how chill it is, like maybe they'll check out the show eventually because a lot of the discussion in the Discord does revolve around the show. I do appreciate you guys for that.
Yes.
It would be nice to like get the show out there a little bit more. I'm trying, this and that, like trying to get on to other shows when I can and get guests when I can. Like definitely going to try to start booking some guests now that things are a little bit more stable. So we shall see. But that was it for that. I've actually got a lot of shit this week, Justin, so I think I'll go ahead and kick it off.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, as we're recording this, I am going to be on the episode of Games My Mom Found that is being recorded on Sunday.
Oh, boy.
We're playing Onimusha Dawn of Dreams and finishing off that series.
Okay.
And, I had bought the game a while ago, and, I was all set. Pop it into my PS2. And it doesn't load.
Oh boy.
And I'm like, oh no. But then, so I bought this one recently because my other PS2 had, had some problems.
Yeah.
And it's one of the smaller model ones, which I think they might have more problems than the original ones did somehow.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Well, it's kind of crazy because the original ones had a shit ton of problems.
Yeah. Oh, they went bad a lot. Yeah. I think I went through at least 2 of them.
I went through 3.
Yeah.
And, I was like, well, these should hopefully be better because, like, hopefully there's, like, less going on. But no, it seems like they're maybe more prone to shit happening.
Boy.
Maybe because they're so, like slight.
Probably. They probably they made them later on in the life cycle. So you would think they would solve a lot of problems, but that was when they were trying to keep the price point down. So they probably cut a lot of fucking corners on that shit. So, yeah.
They do feel pretty cheap.
Yeah.
I will say.
I believe it.
And I noticed that if I held down the lid, the disc would load. And I was like, all right. So I put like a few games on top of the system. It was working.
Yeah.
Every once in a while it would skip a bit. I was like, well, it's fine. And I got like about a third of the way through the game and went through a door. And then it just continued to load forever.
Oh, yeah.
Like you could hear the music, but and the system trying to load what was coming next and just not. It was not happening.
Yeah.
And I tried it a couple times. It just didn't work. And I was like, fuck, man. And so I messaged Mike and I was like, hey, man, I think my PS2 is giving up the ghost. I have a Steam Deck now. Like, can you point me in that direction of that emulation shit?
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, here you go. And so I went through the process of getting like emulation running on my Steam Deck,
Fun.
which was way easier than it should have been, even for someone like me who like had no idea.
It's not hard
what
to
he
get
was
that
doing.
stuff going. Yeah.
Yeah. Got the ROM, got the BIOS,
Yep.
and like, god damn it,
Yeah.
it looks better than it does on my
Uh-huh.
fucking PlayStation
Yeah.
2.
Sorry about that.
And it's like right there in my hand.
Yeah.
And I don't have to worry about like memory card space.
Uh-huh.
And
You can save wherever.
well,
I mean, you don't have to, but you can on a lot of them.
I don't know how that works. Like I haven't done anything with the save states.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what like the button is or whatever.
Yeah.
So I've just been saving it as normal. Because also I'm hesitant to try to mess with the save states because I know when we did God Hand, Mike actually ran into some problems with the save states where it actually like crashed his game a few times.
Okay. Yeah.
I think he had like too many running or something. I have no idea.
It's either that you could probably have too many running, or if like you just do it at the exact wrong time while it's trying to process some shit. I bet it fucks some stuff up, especially on those games. Like older like NES, Super NES. Like you probably won't have very many problems with that type of stuff, but I imagine on the more complicated games get,
Right.
as it goes.
That would make sense.
That it would make sense to me, but who knows?
Yeah. So I've been playing Onimusha Dawn of Dreams on my Steam Deck, and it's been really nice. And it looks really good. And then I was like, well, let me try something else. So I downloaded a game that I own it, but
Yeah.
it's like near the top of the list, if not the top of the list of PS2 games that I really want to see brought onto modern hardware that never will, simply because of there's just no way it would happen.
Yeah.
Which is Champions of Norath,
Okay.
because it's an EverQuest game,
Right.
but back when this game was produced, it was owned by Sony. I
Yeah.
have no idea who the fuck owns EverQuest at this point.
Oh, no clue, man.
Yeah. And I don't even know how you would begin to get that game licensed and remastered onto. I mean, crazier things have happened. There is some shit that's been coming out lately that kind of blows my mind away, and that
Very true.
Night Dive Studios is just killing it with these remakesters. Like they're not quite remakes, not quite remasters, but somewhere they're like peens.
Yeah, I was just gonna make a Peens joke. So good, good pull.
Yeah, something special in betweens.
That's right.
God damn, I love that game.
It's a great game. It's a great game.
but yeah, so I got Champions of Norath running, and I was like, God damn, that's Champions of Norath. I haven't played this in almost 10 years, because I think after Mom died and like I got like the fancy apartment, I started to go pretty big on like the game collecting and stuff like that.
Sure.
And I had picked up both Champions of Norath and Champions Return to Arms. And the one time that Joe and Shanna came to visit me, since they went to Colorado, like me and Shanna played the shit ton out of Champions of Norath, because we used to do that when they lived here. Like we were huge Norath fans. But yeah, it's really cool, and I was like, I might mess around with like Guitaru Man. But it's the only BIOS that I have right now, so. And it's like Mike didn't point me in the direction of the other ones, and that's the thing, is that like I'm not confident to just like search for it online, because I'm afraid of like going somewhere that I shouldn't and getting like
it's not too bad, but
stuff messed up. But I'll probably just ask him like, hey, what about? Because I think I'm curious about PS1 and GameCube.
Yeah.
Not so much like Nintendo and Super Nintendo, because like I've got that stuff.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I've got the PlayStation stuff too, but you know what I mean. Like,
yeah.
I've also played so much of it that I'm not like super like nostalgic for. Like, really, right now, I'm really wanting to revisit PS1 and PS2 shit.
Yeah.
And PS2 generation shit. So like,
makes sense. Yeah.
like I said, GameCube. I if I could get Well, I'm not going to run it. I can actually run that on my Xbox, so it doesn't matter. Like, I was going to say the original Buffy game from Xbox, but I can just pop my Xbox disc into my Series X and it'll run just fine. So that's not an issue.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. I really love the backwards compatibility on the
It's good.
Xbox stuff.
Yes, it's very good.
Yeah. But yeah, so, I was wrong. Like, I still fundamentally like disagree with the whole concept. Like, I like playing shit on the hardware, right? I think you miss out when you're not holding the actual controller and playing it on the actual thing, right?
Yeah. There's an element that goes away for sure.
Yeah. But at the same time, like, some of this stuff is getting like very difficult to play. Like I said, this is the third PlayStation 2 that I've bought in like the last 5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
And they all have different things wrong with them. I think if I took them apart, I could cobble together one working PS2 out of it. I
wouldn't doubt it. Yeah.
But that's a bummer. And I have so many PS1 and PS2 discs.
Right.
There's also an element of just saving on the wear and tear of the system, right? It's like, okay, I've got the disc, but I don't want to, wear on the disc or on the system.
Right.
But yeah, it's been pretty cool.
That's good.
Yeah. So, I'm gonna look into more of it. I guess the other thing, show related wise, is that like it does open up like more possibilities for the Suffer Select.
Oh,
because
right.
now that I've opened that like Pandora's box, may as well, like really stick my dick in it.
Yeah, we've all been there.
Yeah. So, we'll see. I still maintain that like there's plenty of stuff that's readily available that is
for sure
that could cause tons of suffering.
Oh God, yeah.
I think y'all need to dream a little bigger is all, but let's see. And so one night I was playing Onimusha.
Okay.
And then I closed out of it for the night, but I saw something pop up in recommended and I was like, Myriad Death. The fuck is Myriad Death? And I recognized the character and I was like, that's Calliope Mori. Did Calliope Mori have a video game come out? And I remember that she had a stream that day that said like karaoke plus announcement. And I was like, is this the announcement? And so for people who don't know, Calliope Mori is a HoloLive VTuber. She's from the first gen of HoloLive English. Her character is the Grim Reaper's assistant.
Okay.
She's also a J-rapper. And they like, so HoloLive has a indie label called Holo Indie where they help publish fan-made games under that label.
Okay. All right.
I think that they're big enough to where they should just be like making video games, like getting people to make games for them instead of them being indie, like, fan-made stuff.
Yeah.
And so what this is, it's like a run-based, like dungeon, like action game, kind of in the vein. It's like probably splitting the difference between Hades and Enter the Gungeon.
Okay.
It's more overhead than Hades is. It's also pixel art like Enter the Gungeon.
Sure.
And more of an emphasis on guns, hence the Enter the Gungeon.
Okay.
Kinda. But there are melee attacks as well.
Got it.
And I'm assuming, like, I don't know how much like involvement Callie had in this. Like, there are like voice clips of her, but I don't know if they're just taken from
it's hard
various
to say,
sources or if she actually supplied stuff for it. Obviously, it's with her blessing because like it was run through the Holo Indie label.
Sure. Yeah.
Like her music plays during the levels. There is something very fun about having her as the main character because Callie has a very like deadpan voice. And so it's kind of fun to be like running through these dungeons with like all this chaos going on and she's just like, like like that type of thing. And I like Callie's music a lot. I don't know if it works when it's on when the same song is on repeat for like a really long run.
That might be a little interesting. Yeah,
because I played it for about like 15 minutes and I didn't like finish that area and it was just the one song just playing on a loop and I was like kind of over this. And this is feels like you might want a playlist type of situation for something like that,
Yeah.
Unless the runs are supposed to be very short, which I don't think that's the case. So this game has a lot going for it, which is it's got really nice sprite art. It's got a good sense of humor, which it should because it's Hololive.
Yeah.
It really uses Callie as a character very well. She's got various guns, but she also has various scythes that she can use. It's got terrible English as a second language writing. It's bad.
Yeah.
Like, it needs an editor
Got it.
stat. But the biggest problem, Justin, and the reason why I'm probably not going to touch it again, because I bought it immediately. I was like, oh, I got to check this out.
Yeah, why not?
Everything is balanced badly.
Okay.
So it's one of those things where, you pick up there's a bunch of treasure chests when you first start your run, and you can open them, and I guess they'll have random stuff in there as your starting gear. And so I got like a rocket launcher as my first gun, and I was like, okay, that's cool. And I'm glad that I got that because it was the only thing that did any damage.
Oh boy.
But you also have limited ammo. So once I ran out of rockets, I was like, well, I guess I got to use my melee weapon. And I shit you not, like, one enemy was taking like 9 or 10 hits.
Oh wow.
And in a game where it's like you're constantly getting swarmed by enemies, and it's that type of run-based game.
Okay.
That is inexcusable.
That's pretty wild. Yeah.
Yeah. It just feels like all the damage values are just way off.
Yeah. It must be they're trying. Yeah, it sounds like they're trying to make a run-based game, almost like if you don't get lucky enough, you're just not going to make it through this. Or does it have stuff like if you die, you can spend points or something? Is it roguelite in that aspect? Like,
I'm not sure what sticks and what doesn't, because I actually didn't die. Oh wait, no, I did. But then I was just like, I'm done. Like, I didn't want to see what happened. So I unlocked her ability to roll, which I felt should have just been like a thing that you get to do from the beginning. Like, that seems like pretty crucial for that type of game. I'm assuming that sticks, but I'm imagining that your currency doesn't stick. But I don't know.
It's possible it doesn't. I don't know. I'd have to play it.
I don't recommend it.
Yeah,
I really don't.
I probably wasn't going to play it. I'm just saying I would have to play it to know.
Yeah. There's another game that I saw a trailer for from the Hollow Indie label that I'm actually looking forward to, which is a search action game starring Oro Crony that looks actually really good. And that's been getting some good reviews. I don't think it's out yet. I saw like an early review for it, but I've got my eye on that one. So we will see on that. And I've got more, but I'll turn it over to you for now. I spent a lot of time on my Steam Deck this week.
It sounds like it. Well, let's see. My week has been weird. It's been a weird week. I've been playing mostly WWE stuff. That's neither here nor there. I'm not going to really get into any of that.
Just real quick.
You're good.
I think you nailed Jacob Washington. I was super happy with the way that he came out.
Well, that's fun. That's fun.
Yeah.
I may have made another thing like that came out hilarious, and I'm going to show that probably on the next stream that I do. So we'll see how that goes. But no, my week has been really weird. Mostly work stuff. And I guess I'll tell the story, even though it's going to be kind of weird. The situations have been kind of brewing for, I don't know, the past couple weeks here.
I was wondering if things were going to happen.
No, nothing like that. Nothing like that. This is more of a personal story, actually, of basically myself and I would call us a trio at work. So basically, I have a couple friends at work. We're pretty close at this point. We've worked together for a long time. People can probably deduce who I'm talking about, but I'm not going to mention any names for the most part in this story here, just in case.
Sure.
But I don't think they listen to the show. But if they do, I would like to just state up front, I care about both of them very, very much. It has been a wild fucking roller coaster of a week, let me tell you. I have one friend who at one point about 2 weeks ago, they had to take their husband to the hospital. It was basically like they're in some pain. We don't know what it is. You know, it's we think it's like an ulcer. No, they have cancer and they are dying.
Oh.
And like it is escalated very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
I must add that this is like one of the sweetest people that I know. The story in the beginning of the podcast is kind of about them. They do bits without even knowing they're doing bits. It's amazing. I love them to death. And like now I'm seeing like the breakdown of this person, and it's like, oh, it tears me apart. It's really bad. Like, so I get a whole lot of stuff like that.
And it's like hard to know, like, you know, what you can say or what you can do or not do.
Well,
Because
you can't really do much, you know, like even
well, I guess even just to like console them, right?
Oh yeah,
like,
no,
you know, because they're all like, you know, work friend is not like, you know, it's different than a non-work friend, right? So
yeah, we're work friends, but we're pretty much friends. Like we talk, you know, all the time. We text back and forth all the time, all sorts of shit. And like I said, I've known them for, I don't know, probably 6 years now. They don't have a lot of friends outside of there. All they have is family members. So I'm kind of their go-to to like kind of vent sometimes. And like they're, you know, every now and then we're just by ourselves on break and they're just kind of like, well, I'm going to just bawl my eyes out now. And I'm like, oh yeah, this is rough, but I get it. You know, it's a whole thing. And then on the other hand, I have another friend who's on a wild fucking ride. Let me tell you. So I want to start this story out by spoiling it a little bit because I personally do not like how to phrase it, an evil woman story. This is not that. This is more of I'm concerned about my friend because they have shown some behavior that is very concerning to me. Ultimately, I think it's working out okay, but we'll see. So my other friend has met a lady, and they have started dating. And this happened about 2 weeks ago. It's all happened right around the same time, which is wild, and it is built to this week. It started dating, and that's great. It started out as while I had the week off, so you can pretty much timestamp it. I received a text from the friend who's I just talked about. It was like, okay, listen, they're seeing somebody. They're really happy about it. You're going to probably hear all about it. This is what I know. Whatever. Don't tell them I said anything. I'm like, all right, no problem.
So the other friend knows this woman.
Yes and no.
Okay.
Hard to explain. Okay. Let's continue. So then this goes into the weekend when I get a phone call from that friend, which I don't often get. Usually when I get a phone call from them, some shit went down, and I'm like, okay, all right, what happened? And the phone call is basically like, okay, all right, this girl is moving in with them now. They've known each other for a week, and I'm like, okay. All right. Well, I don't know the full situation here, and I'm going in. And they're like, I'm not going to be there tomorrow, so you're going to be on your own. But they'll tell you all about it or whatever. So just so you're prepared. And I was like, all right, cool, got it. So I go in, and sure enough, they kind of tell me all about it. I get some further context of, hey, this person kind of has a drug problem and they want to go to rehab, and my friend is helping them with this stuff. Okay. All right, that's a pretty fucking noble cause. I get how I would do the same thing probably. I'd like to think, if especially because it's somebody they knew in their past, I guess.
Oh, okay. So it wasn't that they
it's not a
just
complete
met them.
stranger. So that is good to know.
Yes.
So
My worry with if it was a like someone they just met is like,
Oh.
well, you don't know if this is on the up and up.
No.
Yeah.
But it was 20 years ago.
Fair enough. Yeah.
So people change. People change in 20 years.
Yeah.
So yeah. And when they knew them, they were 17 and they were 24. Weird. But we're older now. It's fine, I guess.
Yeah.
So I get this context. I'm like, okay, all right, everybody calm down. I get where this person's coming from. I think this is gonna be fine. Let's see where it goes. And then this slowly kind of escalates into like, okay, they have to go and they have to help them move out. But then there's this other guy there, and they're also kind of seeing this other guy. And then me and the other friend are just going back and forth like, who's this fucking other guy that's over here? What the fuck is happening?
Just
Like,
as asexual ass is just like,
it's why no, it's not even that. It's just it's more like a lot of things weren't really adding up a lot of the time. Where I would hear something, I'd be like, that's not how that sound. That's not how that's right. And also myself and my other friend at one point, clawed themselves out of an addiction. I've been around addicts. A lot. I hung out with some shady motherfuckers, let me tell you. I know the playbook. They know the playbook. We're both like watching like, okay, all right, I don't know about this actually. And we're kind of like, this is all right. This is probably the next move by them. And we're kind of waiting for this. But at the same time, the friend in the shit basically is kind of up and down the entire time, and it is wild swings. Like 1 minute they are on cloud 9, the next minute they are like, are they going to kill themselves kind of down, and you're like, okay, this is a dodgy situation. And it's just been it's just every day. It's just been just this wild up and down. And
that kind of reminds me of the relationship with the ex that we no longer talk about or speak to.
Right.
Because it was definitely like super high highs and super low lows.
Yeah.
And almost like on a dime.
Yes, on a dime. And that's what scares me is I'm like, man, I really care about this person. I hope this other person's not, deceiving them or doing something like that. Cause I don't think they've dealt with, that sort of world before. Mm-hmm. And like, ultimately it comes down to what they want to do, if they're going to go to rehab or do whatever and all this other stuff. And I'm like, and it's just me watching a very good friend of mine go through this and be like, oh man, I hope they come out on the other side okay. Cause this is dicey to me.
Yeah. At
the same time, my other friend who is, going through a very morbid situation, a very, very obviously sad, life-changing thing happening to them, is kind of grateful because they're getting all the hot goss firsthand and then relaying it to me, and it's a great distraction
to take their mind off.
It's a great distraction for them.
Yeah.
So it's been a wild week, Julian, and I just had to vent about it into the void, and I wanted to end it by just saying, like, I love those two people with all my heart, as much as I love you, Julian, and that's basically it. That's what's been going on in Justin's life. It's been a fucking wild ride.
No, I appreciate it. It's nice to not be the only one oversharing for once.
I wanted to. I know. I was like, I want to take a page out of Julian's playbook here. Now, I don't want to leave the listeners, empty-handed and depressed or anything. But I should add that the situation as of now seems okay. Seems like it's going okay for them. The other one is, there's not much you can do on that front.
How old is the husband, if I may ask?
I want to say in their 50s. Pretty young. I feel that's my route. I'm not gonna lie. It's to be fair, they struggled with alcoholism, and it's related to that. Like it's a lot of, I hate to say self-inflicted, but they've said it. So,
I mean, I eat a shit ton of processed food.
Well, I mean, but
so,
I'm going to tell you right now, processed food is bad for you, Julian. It ain't got shit on alcohol, man. Like,
fair enough.
That shit is. I watched firsthand. My mother was pretty bad with that stuff, and
I do knock on wood that that's never been a vice of mine. Like my main vice is sugar.
Me watching other people go through this stuff really turned me off of that. Like I got one vice, it's cigarettes, and it's really bad for me, I know, but like I could be doing so much worse sometimes.
Well, there goes my idea of how we drum up new listeners for the show, because back on the comedy button, they used to do this thing where I forget what they would call it. I think it was like Boozapalooza or something like that, where they would just like drink a bunch of just like real shitty alcohol, and like taste it live on air.
Hey, listen, I'm not an alcoholic. I don't think I ever will be. I'm the type of person that like has like 2 drinks and I'm like, oh, okay, I'm done with that. That was great. And that's about it. But I don't want to leave our listeners empty-handed and feeling down in the dumps. So while this was all happening, I started thinking about, what happens if people get married? I've never been asked to give a speech at a wedding, and God knows I maybe never will. Mm-hmm. But I wanted to be prepared, so I've started writing a draft of what I would say, and I want to share it. I haven't finished it all yet, but I'll read out loud what I have so far.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Justin Ham. Welcome to whatever this is. I've been asked today to make a speech, which, okay. I don't know most of you. You don't know me. So I'll start with a quote from my high school English teacher. She said to me once, Justin, you'll never go anywhere in life because you don't take anything seriously. And they were kind of right. Anyways, their husband passed recently, so take that, I guess. You are both together now. The couple or whatever.
I just gotta say that's a really fucked up line to put in there, considering the story you just told.
I don't. Yeah, I know. True though. And you know what that means? Gonna need to buy some shoes. Gotta get them. I'm gonna say get around 3 pairs each, at least. Maybe a pair for around the house, a pair to wear out, and like a pair for rain, If you're looking for good shoe deals, maybe try the Shoe Carnival. Shoe Carnival, little deceptive in the marketing. You expect a carnival of shoes, but no, not one clown. But good deals on shoes. Maybe the real carnival is the deals on shoes we made along the way. Booyaka Booyaka 619. Booyaka Booyaka. That's my logo. Booyaka Booyaka 619. Booyaka Booyaka Rey Mysterio. I look around today and see other people. I, however, do not see any cornbread, which is a bit of a disappointment. I mean, on one hand, I get it. Cornbread not really a mingling food, but still, it's cornbread, If I got married, I'd have nothing but cornbread. I'm just saying. People would call it cornbread wedding. But I digress. And that's all I've written so far, but I'm working on it.
Justin, when are you going to do stand up?
I don't know, but I feel like I'm going to start a business of coming to other people's weddings and giving speeches. So if you'd like to hire me out there, get at me.
Yeah.
And I'll show up. It's probably not that expensive. I don't know. Who knows?
That would be pretty great.
Yeah.
If you've ever seen the footage of the dude at a wedding, like starting shit with the groom and getting into like a wrestling fight,
Yeah.
it's probably Steve Orino, who is like Austin's own.
Okay.
Who is like, I was very close to becoming like actual friends with him.
Yeah.
Like he was like one of the big draws at Inspire Pro when me and
Sure.
John were going there regularly.
Yeah.
But I always thought that was a really good bit. Like somebody paid him to like, basically come and do this skit and like
Right.
take some bumps and everything, make the groom look real strong.
You got to make him look strong. Yeah.
Yeah. But if you've ever seen that clip making the rounds, right, he never gets credited.
Yeah.
But it was Steve Orino, and I hate weddings, but like I appreciate weddings that try to do stuff.
I don't
would
like
do something
them
like that. I would hire you to
Yeah.
do a speech.
Yeah. I was just thinking of like how bad I would be at it and how I would how would I offend everyone somehow. I was like yeah, I would just give a me speech, and that's what it would be.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, other than that, other than my roller coaster of a week and writing wedding speeches, I also played Inzoi, which came out the day we were recording this podcast, at least as
In
far as
early
I
access.
remember. In early access, and it is very good to note that. It is a very early access ass game. Okay. I am, for those new listeners out there, which are I don't know what, 7 people, I don't fucking know anymore. And whoever does not know this about me, I am a big Sims guy. I love The Sims. I've played a lot of The Sims 4, played a lot of The Sims 1 when I was a youth, played a decent amount of Sims 2 on console. The more I thought about it after I said, I'm like, I've never played The Sims 2. I was like, no, I played a lot on console, but it is very different. And I played, it did come out on PlayStation 2, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I was like trying to remember. Like,
Yeah.
do I remember? Yeah, I do remember that. I never touched it.
There was Bustin' Out, and there was, I think, Pets or something like that came out. There was like 2 different versions of it, and they both were kind of different. That was around the time when they also had the herbs and shit like that, if you remember that.
I do remember the herbs.
Yeah, sadly, I do too.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking black-eyed peas. God.
Don't talk shit about Black Eyed Peas.
Man, black-eyed peas. I was thinking about them.
Don't talk ill of Apple Diap.
I mean, listen, all I'm saying is a certain alternate version of Let's Get It Started does not hold up particularly well in the year of our Lord 2025.
Oh, it definitely doesn't. I also think that the radio edit is a better version of the song.
Mhm.
Like, I think it just flows better.
Yeah,
It is funny to go back and watch Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle, because it's not the radio edit, and it's like, ooh, this certainly does date this movie instantly.
Yep. I was like, oh, right. That was the fucking song, actually, wasn't it? Oh, boy.
There's a handful of songs where I prefer the radio edit.
Yeah.
Is it CeeLo Green, the Crazy song?
I think so. Yeah.
Like, I like the radio edit.
Yeah.
Than the one with the cussing.
I'm trying to think of one I actually like better. I think one I like better is a weird one. The Ice Cube song "Today Was a Good Day" is actually a little bit better as the radio edit. There was he put out at some point. It's called Bootlegs and B-Sides, and it's a remix of that song. And like the remix is fantastic. It adds like this really like, I don't want to say light-hearted tone to it, but like it's really good, and there's like no cussing in it pretty much. Like it's all pretty much edited. I think there might be some, but I can't remember off the top of my head. But it's really like it adds this different tone to the song, and it's really it's cool.
Yeah.
Anyway, you can be friends with Fergie and their herbs. And played a good amount of 3. Inzoi reminds me of Sims 3.
Okay.
That's what they're going for, I'm pretty sure.
Is that a positive?
Yes, because most people, that is the definitive Sims that they like a lot. Because of
Is
the
it a
open-
positive for you?
I'm indifferent towards it. I like
Okay.
The Sims 3. I don't like going back to it because I think the look of it is very 2009, and it's tough to me. I don't know how to explain that
Wait.
without.
Are you saying that The Sims 3 is so 2008 and also you're 2000 and late?
No, actually, I wasn't saying that.
Oh,
I don't know. I
be a
tried
lot
to
better
go.
if you did.
Oh, yeah, I tried to go back to it not that long ago. I think it was about a year ago. I tried to go and try to play it again because it was
Just
on
nothing.
Steam for sale.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just nothing.
Sorry, nothing. I tried to go back to The Sims 3, and like it there's something about the graphical quality and everything that just wasn't. I just found it weird. But
Sure.
anyway, doesn't matter. That's what Inzoi playstyle wise is kind of. Now, I ran into all kinds of problems today with it. It's in early access. First of all, it kept overloading my VRAM, which was fun. That's
I'm not
because
surprised. That
Yeah.
game looks ridiculous.
yeah, I had to actually. It's on me. It's because they do a shader cache, and what ended up happening, I needed to change a setting in the fucking graphics card to make the like how much it will store, basically, because it wasn't storing enough. So every time it'd load up, it'd crash. like the actual game would just like duh. I could create a Zoe, as it were, which was a process. And this is where my major complaints come from, is actually this bit right here.
Oh.
So the character creation itself is really good. I really like it. The problem is they don't. So when you play The Sims, you make a family or you make a guy. As soon as you like press go to world or whatever the hell it is, it saves that family. That's it. That family's saved. So you can instantly just go into like your local thing, load it, write it back up. Inzoi does not do that. So I pressed continue. I was like, I'm just gonna make one person and we'll just go in here. Let's fart around and see what we can see. And went in, picked what city I wanted to go to, and it started loading up and crashed the game. And I was like, okay, well, I made that person, no big deal. I'll just get right back to it. I was like, okay, this VRAM thing might be a thing, but let me see if it does it again, because that's how I do it. And I go back in, and it's like, there's no continue option, only new game.
Ooh.
That's not good. And then
That's got to be one of those things that gets fixed real fast
man,
in
you
early
would
access.
think, I can't believe there's no fucking save option.
Yeah.
So the only way to save that I found a sim without uploading it to the fucking gallery of the Jared Gallery of Jewelry or whatever the fuck it is, you can save them as a preset. They won't have a name, but you can save it as a preset like Zoe, so you can just pick it right away, right? The problem with that is it doesn't say they do the Sims thing of you have an outfit for this occasion and this occasion and this occasion and all these other occasions. So you're making like 7 outfits, which it takes a little bit of time if you're trying, you know?
Yeah.
But it doesn't save the other ones. It only saves one. So that now you can save the outfit presets as outfit presets, which that's what I ended up having to doing the last time. And then of course it didn't fucking crash because I had fixed it by then. But I was like, Jesus, there's gotta be a fucking better way. Just auto save it like on the local. I don't see what the problem is here.
Yeah.
That's what The Sims does. It's fine. That game looks like way more Sims than I thought it would. I know that might sound weird. They're just little things like the way things highlight and shit like that. I was like, wow, this is a lot more Sims than I was expecting for some reason.
Yeah, because the main like I guess elevator pitch of Inzoi is that it's The Sims but hyper realistic graphics.
Yes, pretty much, yeah. And some of that is cool, and I thought let me put it like this, long story short. I thought I would like it more than I do, but I don't hate it. It's weird. I think Sims has like kind of a personality. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely.
Like
100%.
It's full of like charm and personality, and I feel like you lose a lot of that with the realistic art style. Sure, people have been modding that stuff into Sims games for fucking ever. Like that's just what people do. They want to make the most realistic stuff ever, and that's what they're catering to. And I totally respect that, and that's definitely a market. And I'm when I seen that, I was like, oh yeah, no, that's a great idea. I'm super down for that. I think the problem is not so much that they went for the realism stuff. I think the weird thing is like watching some of like the facial expressions and shit is really uncanny valley, and I don't often have that thing like where it's like uncanny valley. Like, but I was like just watching the one that I made smile, and I was like, what the fuck is wrong with them? They look so weird. Like it's just
no, yeah,
odd.
absolutely. Like I think that there's something to doing this type of game in a hyper realistic setting.
Yeah.
But I also agree that like realism is not always like the be all end all.
No.
I saw a trailer for a game recently. I don't remember the name of it, but it's very much going for that arcade like military shooter a la Mercs or Guerrilla War,
absolutely,
or Ikari Warriors.
Sure.
But it's all like it's going for like a realistic art setting, but it's got humor to it.
Yeah.
And the whole time I was watching the trailer, I was like, you need to do something to jazz this up a bit, like whether it's cell shading or doing like more stylistic like character models or just something, because it just looks boring. Yeah.
And that's kind of it. It's very good that we stress that this is early access for this game. It's not so much because the Uncanny Valley stuff is a little off-putting. I can get past that. It's not that big a deal.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that's like kind of like the main crux for me right now, I'm liking what I'm playing for the most part. Like I'm doing my Sims thing. I'm like, okay, some of the like smaller changes are changes that I myself mod in often. Like the time scale is very different. Like it's a lot longer for one day than it is in The Sims, which is stuff I've done in the past because like in The Sims, it always felt like I never had quite enough time to do everything.
It starts to get away from you after like you get like certain like deep enough into the game. Yeah,
it can get really hectic, which kind of adds to the fun. In a way where you're like, I never have enough time. I have to do this and do this and do this, and you're constantly.
That just starts to feel like real life for me, though.
Right? Yeah, I guess so. But this one, you have plenty of time. You have it is a much longer time scale, which and that's really cool. The problem is it doesn't feel like there's a whole heck of a lot to do in it. And that's kind of a problem. Like, and their tutorial as of right now, and again, it's early access, is kind of like, hey, we have a website and there's a video where we kind of show you what to do and how to do it, and here's like, a help menu that'll tell you how to do stuff, where like The Sims will just like full tutorial you a lot of the time, like, oh yeah, click here, do this, and then you can get a job, and do this and this, and a lot of this was me like poking around, like, okay, how do I get a job? How do I do this sort of thing and stuff like that? But slowly, as a veteran of the genre, I guess I figured a lot of that stuff out on my own. It was fine, but like at the same time, I was still like, okay, but like, what is there to do? Like, actually, like it because it loses the hecticness of it. You're constantly just like, okay, I guess I'll watch TV now, and
like, so it becomes like post-pandemic real life.
It's kind of weird. Or like, I mean, you can go, to a place, but like when you get there, you're like, okay, there's like I went, okay, art gallery in The Sims 4. If you go to the art gallery, it's in San Myshuno. There's a couple other ones, I think. They have instruments and all this other stuff, and like it's a ton of shit that you can do and get up different skills for. Here it's just like, no, there's just art. There's just art here, and you can look at it. And I was like, all right, great. That's okay. I'm gonna leave now because what the fuck do I need to do that for? That's and you can build your skill, like some skill, by looking at art. But I was just kind of like, I don't really care about that right now. And I found that a lot when I was going to places. There was an amusement park. I was like, oh, okay, cool. But we'll go to an amusement park. That's probably got some shit. And then like there's rides around, but I couldn't figure out how to get on any of them. And I was like, okay, well, I guess I can play the claw machine here. All right, that's that's a little bland, I guess. And it's early access. You know,
it sounds like a game that has the concept but hasn't found the fun, as people like to say.
That's kind of it. The bones of it are really solid. I think there's a lot of stuff in there where I'm like, man, you got a lot of shit going on. But then there's also like certain systems that I'm like kind of finding really weird. There's one system in there where it's just like, every night the cat who is kind of like the tutorial guide cat, they will come on and go, hey, your Zoe's karma is falling. And I'm like, the fuck do you mean my Zoe's karma is falling? And they're not talking about my Zoe that I'm playing. They're talking about the Zoes in the world. And then they keep warning me about that. And I'm like, what's going to happen if it does? Because I don't have control over them. I can't help that. Like, but you keep warning me about it.
Sorry. Do you have to infiltrate their palaces?
That'd be great. I wish. That would be a fucking, now we're talking. Now we have a video game. But yeah, no, it's really weird. I haven't gotten too far into it because
I want to just came out today.
Obviously it just came out today, but yeah, like it's something. Like there's something there and I want to keep playing it. Like I was playing it like 15 minutes before I got on here because I was like, no, I'm having a good time playing this shit.
Hey, that's a good sign.
It's there's something to it. I want to see what all the bones are before I, put it away for a little while. I think the basics of it is going to be like one of those things that as soon as like the real modding begins on it, that thing is going to be depraved because of the realism shit. I'm like, I'm like, oh, the Sims modding scene is already depraved as shit. Like, oh god, look, this is going to be gross.
Yeah. So this has to be a bit for the show because I told you about this before we started recording, but now I want to get Justin's live reacts.
Okay, great.
Because one of the things that Inzoi has, and I do not understand why it has this, but you can set it up with extremely detailed facial and body tracking.
Yes.
And so HoloLive girls in particular have been having a fucking field day with it because they're making hyper realistic versions of their VTuber models, and then they already have all of the stuff they need at home to do the 3D tracking.
Oh god,
because they do their 3D concerts and stuff like that. So, and the thing is that it also lets you do it in the game. Like a lot of the clips you'll see is them just on the creative character screen. But there was a part where Bibu was like in game and her character's walking around, but the character is talking as she talks.
Oh yeah.
But I'm gonna share my screen and
great.
I'll probably like layer some of this under like the audio as Justin's giving his live reacts. Can you see that? Okay.
I can now. Yes, go ahead.
Okay.
All right. So who am I watching right now?
This is Bibu.
Okay.
What's the difference?
Oh boy. Yeah. Even like, facial animated by somebody else, it's still somehow really off-putting.
Oh, it's extremely off-putting.
It's really weird.
I think this character is too big for me. The proportions are not correct. Oh my gosh, wait, is it better like this? Please don't tell me it's better like this.
Oh, that's weird, yeah.
I know, it is in fact not better like this. Okay.
But it is hyper.
not.
Yeah, I've never seeing this in action is like, wow, this is fucking wild. I know where the button is to do all this, and they were like, you gotta make sure you're on the right network, and I was like, I'm not doing any of that, man.
Dang it. Wow. You know what you need to do?
She has like all the stuff that she needs to do, like really good facial tracking.
Yeah.
But her VTuber model only has so much that it can express.
Right.
So it's almost like you're seeing like way more of like the real person.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
But why does it fit better?
But it also that's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, that's
but
fine.
it also has an element of like I don't know if you remember the casting call for Heavy Rain, like before Heavy Rain was an actual game, like the very first
Vaguely
Heavy Rain
remember
trailer.
this. Yeah,
Like it's got a little bit of that to it.
yeah,
of
yeah.
just
It's,
like, capital U uncanny
oh,
valley.
it's very much so, and I don't know what it is about it. Like I said, I didn't really like. I don't have that often where like something really throws me off. It was seeing them smile that got me. I was just like, what the fuck is with that, man?
Yeah.
Like that's just there's something to this that's not quite right.
Yeah.
But like the character editing is good. They need to fix like some way to just auto save because like yeah, like loading I know is probably just a me thing, but like loading into the world and just immediately having it crash and realizing it didn't save was wild to me.
That to me, that's an obvious thing of like once you finalized your character, like that should be a save.
That should be a save, yeah.
Yes.
Like because that takes a lot of work. Like I was like, I can't believe there's no fucking autosave. And then when I was like, okay, all right, I solved it. You make a preset. Okay, I'll save ahead of time. This is wildly inconvenient, but sure, fine. And realizing like, oh no, that didn't save any of the fucking outfits, so you have to do that over again. I was like, are you fucking for real? This is fucking so bad. Like my early impressions were like, I'm gonna get on this fucking podcast and bash the shit out of this because I fucking I was mad.
Yeah.
And then once I got over that and got in the game, at first I was like, man, there's really not much to fucking do, and kind of the charm isn't here. And then as I went, I was like, no, there's bones here that are really good, and as they go, it might get better. Oh, one other weird off-putting thing. So there's cars in the game, and there's like a bus, but most of it's just like you walk up to it, and then it just goes into a loading screen, and you go somewhere else, and that's fine. The off-putting part of it though is when you actually do go to work. Your character will go and get in a taxi, and then they just don't get out for like 8 hours, and the taxi doesn't move. I was like,
oh, that's how
it's really weird.
That's how The Sims 1 was. Except, well, I think it was just they got in the taxi, and then like it would.
Oh no. Here's how The Sims works, and you're right. The car shows up, and you get in the car, and then but the car leaves. So and then it fast forwards time. It's simulating
what it was,
work.
right? Yeah.
Every Sims game has that. That's how work usually works. There's a couple like Sims 4 jobs where you actually do a job, and there's like
that's okay because I want it to be where you follow your sim to work and they have things they do there, or you can choose to stay at the house and do stuff there if you have other family members and stuff.
I think some of that's here. Because when I was reading a review for it before it came out, and if I remember right, the reviewer did not really care for it, but was a Sims fan. They were talking about working at the amusement park because apparently you can work there, and you actually walked around and did stuff, but they were like, it wasn't very exciting though. And I was like, yeah, I could kind of see that. But yeah, like at least in the Sims version, they call those rabbit holes. Like you go into a place, drives away, and then fast forwards time, and it simulates the workday. This is doing that too, but like there's no like animation for the car leaving, so you just get in a car for 8 hours. Like I was like, am I at work right now? Like what? Like did it freeze? Like what? Oh shit! Am I gonna have to like reload that? That sucks.
Your character is a professional guest on what was that taxi cab game show?
Yes, Cash Cab.
Cash Cab. Yeah, there you
Popular among me and my mother. Yes, absolutely. Good old Cash Cab. No, but like, yeah. So then the other complaint I have, and this is, to me, it's easy to fix. They have a time, like you can speed up like the time scale, like it's, fast forward buttons, but like you can also, like, there's a slider for them. Like, so like if you want the ultra fast forward to go really fast, you can do that. It'll tell you like you can't use certain buttons for it and stuff like that. But like you're like, I don't care. I'm not going to use that stuff anyway. It's like because you can actually like almost do WASD movement on the game or something like that. Which I didn't mess with because the keyboard is inconvenient to me. But apparently you can do so. From what I was looking at. So that gets disabled. I take that to mean
that it's probably also pretty well set up for controller, like out of the gate.
I'm gonna guess. I don't think it's out on anything like that, but I would guess that you could eventually that would be the next stage, right? Is for it to come out on console or something like that.
Well,
it
even
seems
just
like it
playing
would play
with a controller on PC, right?
I would love to play
on a Steam Deck. Like,
it'd be interesting.
Yeah, I don't think this could run on a Steam Deck.
Yeah. No, probably not. Actually, maybe on low settings you could. It's tough to say. But that being said, like even with the slider all the way up, none of the fast forward options seem like they're fast enough. Which is something like Sims 4 kind of really figured out. They were like, okay, your characters all your playable characters are asleep. Time will fucking fly. Like because you can't do anything. There's nothing to do. Yeah. It feels like it goes a little bit too slow, and I feel like that's a really easy fix and a minor complaint. But like, it just goes to show it. Still an early access game. Like there's a lot to work out. But like, I feel like the bones of something are here. I don't like all the AI bullshit. Like that like most of it's pretty ignorable. I haven't run into anything where I was just like, okay, well, I guess I'm forced to use AI or whatever to generate something. I didn't do any of that. Like most of that stuff's like, I got to go out of my way for that. And I have no desire.
Yeah.
So that's fine. But yeah, Inzoi is interesting. I want to play more of it and kind of get more of a feel. But like, I think it's, like I said, the bones are there, but right now it feels super empty. There's just something about it, but yeah. That's Inzoi for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be curious to see like how it goes. This seems like a game that's going to be like years in early access before a 1.0.
It's either that. Yeah, no, probably. I imagine they're going to go a while in early access for this one. And that'd probably be the way to do it. Really,
yeah,
because
the Sims community is so passionate, and they also are so creative, and there's plenty of people like you that are like, this needs to change, right?
Yeah,
like this and this, like needs to be this way.
And you're not gonna know until you get in there. I can definitely tell as I was playing it that like the people making it definitely played The Sims, and these were like, there were certain things that they were like, I want to change this about it. Like you could tell, and like I said, it was way more Sims than I thought it was going to be. Like I knew it was. I mean, it's obvious it's a Sims clone, but at the same time, there was still stuff where I was like I will say this too, and this I think you're a little too late in the game to try to change something like this, and I don't know how you would, but like. The version of what I'll call Simlish that they're using sounds really just like Simlish. Like it's just like, it's a little too similar. I don't know how you get that to be different, but like there's got to be a way.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, Inzoi.
That's a tough road to hoe
really is.
With, because like you don't want to sound like Simlish, but you also don't want to sound offensive.
You don't want to sound offensive, and you don't want to sound like an actual language. You don't. There's such a hard line to toe because The Sims kind of just nails it. I don't know what it is. Like it's.
I would go like. You would get someone who works on like a sci-fi show that's responsible for making new languages for a sci-fi show, and just be like, give me your version of Klingon. And make it sound like just like fucking Star Trek or Star Wars, and it's like, yeah, it doesn't sound like Simlish.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that could work. Yeah, that could work. It's more about like how the emotion is coming across that really sells that stuff anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, it definitely could work.
I want my Zoe to talk about Bantha Poodoo.
Yeah. I don't know what that is, but I'm down. Yeah, here we go.
The stage select is made possible through the support and funding of viewers like you. Here are our wonderful patrons.
Well, before I move on to my stuff, Justin, I think it's a good time to thank our lovely patrons.
It probably is.
It is the first episode of April,
Oh boy.
which means it is time to thank all of our patrons.
All right.
Starting with the executive producer tier, we have Addy XD.
We have Big Baker.
We have Bookie.
We have Casey Curran.
We have David Portnov.
We have Dennis Robertson.
We have Eric Peacock of the Soundtracker podcast.
We have Xrian.
We have Game Johnson of the Retrofits YouTube channel.
We have Matt Jorgensen.
We have Philip PK Becker.
We have Raymond Crum.
We need one more executive producer to throw off so that Justin has to say all the wordy stuff for a bit.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Well, I mean, you could restructure the list, Julian, to where
I do.
I
but
know
yeah.
you do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So see, but you brought this on yourself. See.
Yeah, I know.
I know.
We have 60 has mixed feelings on Final Fantasy IX.
We have Stephen Lobo,
We have Xavier Krager.
and at the associate producer tier, we have Andrew Wilson.
We have Dr. Delicious.
We have John Gholson.
We have Joshua Moncrief.
We have Lazy Bocas.
We have Weston of Big Nerd Gaming.
And at the free tier, we have Daft Man.
And last but certainly not least, we have Reese Duff.
All right.
We no longer have anybody at the key grip tier because they upgraded. So
Nice.
thank you, everybody. And 60, don't worry about it. Final Fantasy IX has always been a game of mixed reaction. I can say for certainty that when that game came out, working in retail, I wanted to rip the rest of my hair out because everybody who was coming into my store was complaining about that game because they said it was not a Final Fantasy game because they were all the people who had started with 7.
Oh,
And I wanted to jump over the counter and throttle them.
Look, I started with 7 too, Julian, but at the same time, I knew better. Like, I at least I knew what the series was,
Mhm.
like, before that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, I think in retrospect, it has become like a lot of people's like favorite, but only because as the years went on, they realized that it was the last like traditional Final
Yeah.
Fantasy game. And so that has made it bigger in the minds of a lot of people,
Yeah.
but it has its issues.
And again, I guess technically my first Final Fantasy game was Mystic Quest, but
Yeah.
it kind of counts.
But they've been actually talking. They had a really good conversation with me and some of the other people on the Discord, kind of expressing that.
Well, there you go.
So another plug to join the Discord.
There you go.
So, Justin, I wish that I had put about one more hour into Assassin's Creed Shadows before I talked about it last week.
Oh, yeah?
Because I would have actually had a lot of the complaints that I had like already addressed.
That's how that goes sometimes, yeah. Especially in the Assassin's Creed series. The
Right.
really long intro, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, this just solves everything. Okay, got it.
Yeah, so I did, and I haven't played much more than that, I should say, but I did get out into like the open world and kind of let loose. And, I had my objective, and I was like, okay, let's go to the objective. But then, I happened to see like stairs leading up to like a temple. And I was like, you know what? Okay, let's go ahead and see what's over here. Like, let's kind of get a feel for, what this side stuff actually ends up being. Like, is it going to be like, just like pointless bullshit? Or is it going to be like actually like worth the time?
Right.
And it's cool because, much like Ghost of Tsushima, like it does kind of feel like you're sightseeing a little bit in Japan. Like,
Mhm.
there's other visitors to this temple and stuff like that. And I got to the point where it's like, oh, this is where I can interact with stuff. And it's like a meditation point where now she sits down, she meditates. You do this little rhythm-based mini game that's very much like the squats mini game from Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Okay. Yeah.
But here it actually works better because the music is actually in rhythm with the button presses.
Good.
Instead of you just having to feel it out with the motions of the character.
Yeah.
Because it does eventually disappear and you have to just do it in the rhythm.
Right.
But that's where I would fuck up on the squats mini game because I was like,
it was tough.
I'm not meshing with the motions of the character. Like, it's just not hitting the way that, like, the original game. Like, I can do the squats in the original game, like, really well.
Right.
But the remake, no, not so much.
It's tough. That was a tough one. I remember that one.
So I was like, okay, I was like, that's it, right? Like, I completed the thing. I'm going to get my experience points or whatever. No.
Okay.
It goes into a flashback and it turns into a full on, like, 10-minute long, like, mini mission with dialogue, cutscenes, additional, like, combat tutorial stuff.
Oh.
And a really fucking good musical bit.
Nice.
Where I immediately wrote it down. I was like, oh, this is going in.
Yeah.
At the end of the year. Like, this fucking rocks.
Cool.
And I was like, and I finished it. I was like, God damn.
Yeah.
I got to do more of those.
I will say this about that. Best of luck finding that music at the end of the year because Assassin's Creed soundtracks are a pain in the ass to hunt down. I know this from experience. Yeah. So I hope I'm wrong, but like I remember having this problem before.
Okay. We shall see.
Yeah.
Because it's also not like I know the name of it or whatever.
That's also the problem too. And they have a shitload of music in them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
But yeah, so I haven't played much further than that, but I was just super impressed that, like, the first side bit that I did was, like, meaningful and
that's
felt
cool.
like a mainline mission in the game, but it's not. Like, I could have totally moved on and not seen that thing.
Right.
And I think I would have been worse off for it, which that's the type of side content that I like.
Yeah.
Stuff that isn't vital to the main plot, but fleshes it out in a way that makes you feel really glad that you sought it out and did it.
Yeah.
So I was really happy to see that. However,
okay,
my week has actually been overtaken by something else.
Oh boy.
And it was something that I downloaded on a whim because I didn't actually know it was on Game Pass.
Okay.
Madjack Mullett, Justin.
I've heard of that game.
Yes. So I had heard of it as well. Like, I know Matt McMuscles was pretty high on it, but he's also in the game. So I'm like, okay, well, that explains it.
That makes sense. Yeah.
It's like a real brief cameo of his like avatar. It's not like he's a character or anything. At least not yet. Maybe he shows up later. Right. But I'd also seen like a fairly good bit of buzz on it on like Blue Sky and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Now, if you look at this game, Justin, you're going to be like, what the fuck? Why are you going on about this game? Because it's got not a great look.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a lot visually. And it's kind of like if you're just looking at like a screenshot or like a trailer of it, it's like, ooh, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
That's just a lot of like visual noise and like a lot of crazy colors on the screen at once.
Mm-hmm.
The setup is that it takes place in 2094, in a future where, you know, robots and AI have kind of taken over, and humans like basically need to be entertained every 10 seconds.
That's
like,
fair. Yeah.
If they don't get a hit of dopamine every 10 seconds, they'll die.
Good. Yeah.
And you play Madjack Mullett, who gets roped into a contest to basically go up and save like this they call her the princess, but you know, she's just a girl.
Yeah. Okay.
And you're having to save her. And if you get all the way, if you save her, then you'll win like a pair of sneakers. Like it.
Okay.
You know, it's going for a super like. It's weird. It's going for a 90s vibe, but the music is very much synthwave.
Okay.
And it's billed as an OVA / FPS.
Okay.
Because it's going for like an 80s OVA like anime type thing.
Sure.
And man, there's a lot about this game that I don't like.
Okay.
Like, I'll just say that like straight up. Like, I think it's overly wrought with like the presentation. The woman in your ear, she's, let's see, what is she? I forget what she's called, because you're called the moderator.
Okay.
I think she's called the streamer.
Oh boy.
She's annoying as shit.
Good. Yeah.
And like, one of the first things that I did was there's an option to unbox the game.
Yeah.
And it's like, big computer box. And, keep in mind the game takes place in 2094, but I think the implications are very clear with the writing.
Yeah.
Where she's like, our ancestors used to buy games in boxes and have to open them up like this. And I'm like, fuck's sake, man.
Yeah.
Like, because it's a game that refers to itself as a boomer shooter. And I'm just like, I'm getting so tired of this, like active pushing out of like older gamers where it's just like, you can stick around, but we're going to insult the shit out of you on a daily basis because like you shouldn't be here anymore. And it's like, fuck you. I've been here since the start. Like you don't get to tell me when I leave.
You just got to embrace it at some point.
Fuck
I
that.
will. I don't give a shit.
It's just, I'm getting to the point where I'm more and more cognizant of my mortality, Justin, and I don't like the
Apparently
way
so,
that this
yeah,
is making me like, address it head on.
Yeah.
But you like unbox the game and it like, it's basically like an archaeological dig almost where it's like, oh, games used to come in boxes like this and they used to have this and that and blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, oh God. But you unlock like a weapon that gets unlocked in the main game. So what the game actually is a very fast-paced, run-based shooter. And it has replaced Balatro for me.
Okay, there you go.
Because I have continued to play quite a bit of Balatro since the last time that I talked about it.
I'm really happy that you clicked with that eventually, though. That's good.
Yes and no.
Yeah.
My last handful of games have been atrocious.
Okay. No, you'll have that. You'll just have bad runs. It happens.
And that's kind of what I'm getting at is that I think the reason that Madjack Mullett has kind of replaced it for me right now is that Madjack Mullett is it's always like on me, like because it's a skill based type thing.
Yes.
Where Balatro, I think, and
sometimes you just feel like you get unlucky in that one, and there's nothing you can do.
Lately, most of the time, it's felt that way, and I'm sure there is skill involved where like you start to really know how to like game the system and whatnot.
Oh, the more I've played it, there's some times where I'm just like, okay, I feel like I can get through a lot of shit that I couldn't before.
Sure.
Like I have kind of gotten better at that.
Yeah,
so,
my third eye has not opened on Balatro.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough.
There's times when I don't make it past the first small blind.
I also play a lot of card based stuff, so
sure,
it's a little. I'm weird like that.
Yeah. So every chapter you're going up 10 floors.
Mm-hmm.
And it like if the floor takes you like a minute 30, you done fucked up.
Okay.
Like you were really slow. Like typically a floor is going to take you like under a minute.
Okay.
So it is like a super bite-sized, super fast-paced game. It's the type of thing where it's like you can attempt to make a run through an entire chapter, and you might make it through in like a 15-minute break.
Okay.
So it's a really fun pick up and play game. Again, you have 10 seconds to live.
Okay.
And that's your life bar. So the clock is always ticking down. If you take damage, it actually damages the time you have left.
All right.
You get like on the normal and difficulty level just above normal, you get time back for every kill. I think it's like 2 seconds for every regular kill. It's 3 seconds for a headshot, 3 seconds for a nut shot. I believe it's 4 seconds for an environmental kill. And there's very often you'll get like items that are like one hit kills that will completely replenish your health.
Sure.
And it's all about like just kind of getting into the flow.
Yeah.
And learning the levels, because like the levels repeat.
Yeah.
But they don't repeat in the same order and stuff like that. But it's like once you start to realize where you're at, it's like, okay, there's this shortcut coming up. Like I can like kick through this vent and like slide through this vent and like take some time off of this run and whatnot, right? And it's addicting as shit.
Cool.
And at the end of every floor, you get to choose from 3 perks, and they're added to your run. They reset when you beat the boss of the chapter and move on.
Mhm.
But at the end of each chapter, you get to pick a permanent perk.
All right.
So like the first couple that I got was like, I want level 2 weapons to show up in the shop. I want level 3 weapons to show up in the shop. And
Right.
those end up being like run changers, because like I got like the plasma rifle, which is like, I think it's the fastest weapon, like the fastest gun in the game.
Yeah.
And then the level 2 has an unlimited battery, so you just don't have to reload anymore. You're just
Okay.
spraying and praying like the whole way through. It's great.
Nice.
But they definitely start to add like some new wrinkles to it, and like there's like platforming parts that get tougher. The enemies are more aggressive.
Oh man, first person platforming.
It's not so much first person platforming as it is like you're wall running and then like jumping to the next to the next like big platform.
That doesn't sound too bad. Though.
Yeah. But hopefully trying to like kill an enemy on your way down as you land on the platform to like save some time.
Yeah.
And they're all robots. It's like still super satisfying to shoot them in the nuts.
Okay.
The music is fucking on fire.
Okay. Cool.
It's so good. And that's why I kind of cut myself off. It's a 90s aesthetic, but like the music is very much 80s retro.
Yeah.
Like,
You
80s
said,
synthwave.
you mentioned that. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's this weird like kind of, yeah, and also like I said, the style of the faux anime they're doing is very much like 80s anime.
Okay. Sure,
And it's very much like anime made by Westerners.
That sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah, that type of thing. But it's really good, and I actually got to like a part I beat the third chapter.
Okay.
And it started to do some shit with the
Nice.
story, and I was like, okay. I thought this was just going to be like a madcap dash through these levels, but no, there's some stuff going on.
Stuff going on. That's cool.
Yeah, it's really good.
Nice.
Like I highly recommend, like if people are listening to this and they're on Game Pass, like absolutely download this and check it out.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun to just pick up and play. I'm not a big first person shooter guy, especially fast paced shit like this.
Yeah.
But the way that the game is laid out, like it's pretty forgiving, because even if you're not super awesome at like hair trigger headshots and stuff like that,
Yeah.
there's so many robots that just happen to be conveniently standing in front of a fan or an electric grid.
Okay.
That
Yeah.
you can just kick them into that and get like 4 seconds added to your clock.
Right.
So it and like the items that let you like one hit enemies are pretty plentiful as well.
Mm.
So it really works with you to like, basically I think the better you are at first person shooters, like the better your times are going to be.
Sure.
So like when I beat chapter 3, like it had like the gold, silver, and bronze like times, and like gold was like 4 minutes, and I'm like, no fucking way. I'm not even touching that. I think I was at like a little over 10 minutes.
Yeah. It sounds like that one game that I don't think either of us played. What was it called? Like Neon White or something like that, or some.
Yeah, it's a little neon whitey.
Yeah. Neon Whitey. Good old.
Less cringy than that.
Okay. Yeah, that one the writing seemed real weird in it, but
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah. It's kind of the best one of these as far as like the faux like contest aesthetic, like trying to recreate Running Man since like Smash TV.
Right.
So highly recommend, having a blast with it.
Cool.
Like I said, it's a great thing to just, I've been playing it in the way that I've been playing Balatro, but the thing with Balatro is that like, I've gotten to where like, runs can last for a good long while.
They can go. Yeah. Every now and then they can go.
Yeah. And here it's like, if I make it through to the end of a chapter, like I said, it's taking me like 10 minutes, because
Right.
like most of the floors I'm getting through in like a minute or less.
Right.
And yeah, it's really good.
That sounds cool.
Yeah. So absolutely check that out, y'all. Probably not Justin, because Justin hates first person.
I really don't like first person shooters. No.
Yeah.
I'm listening to this. I'm like, yeah, it sounds neat. I remember that being a thing on Steam for a little while and seeing it and being like, it sounds okay. I'm good.
Yeah. I don't, I think you would probably get, what you need out of it just watching like, a streamer play it for an hour
for
or
a
so.
little bit. Yeah, pretty much.
But I think people who are, looking for like a good run based game and like something different, like absolutely check it out.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But that's all I've got this week, Justin.
All right. That's all we've got then.
Well, I thought we could close things out with a little CQC.
Okay,
Some
good.
Comments, questions, and concerns.
Sure.
As always, there's many ways that you can get at us. You can email us. The email address is thestageselectpod@gmail.com. You can comment on the Patreon version of the show or the YouTube version of the show if you have accounts on those respective sites. As always, you do not have to be a member of our Patreon page. You just have to have a Patreon account to comment on there. But probably the easiest way is to join the Discord, and there's a channel in there for comments, questions, and concerns.
Yeah.
Which is where these come from. Once I navigate to there. Like so. Casey says,
all right.
What do you think is the best and worst IP for licensed video games?
Best and worst IP for licensed video? Like, do you mean that already exists or could exist?
I'm going to say already exists.
Oh, best and worst.
Because, like, doesn't, like, hasn't existed. I mean, there, that's, like,
that's
pretty
an
easy.
infinite fucking,
Yeah,
chasm. Okay, just wanted to clarify. Oh, best and worst. For games that have come out, licensed, right. Spider-Man has some good games.
I was going to go with Batman.
Yeah, Batman's also good. Batman, I don't know though. Batman's had, I guess.
Well, both of them have had bad games.
Both of them have had bad games.
But I feel it's been in recent years, and by recent I mean like since like the last 15 years, where we finally got like the technology where we can actually express these superheroes in video game form in
basically
really good ways, right?
Yeah,
I think it's pretty hard to fuck up a Batman game at this point in time. It can be done.
You'd be surprised. Yeah. I would say worst would probably be Superman, actually. Like, there aren't many, very, very many good Superman games, and people are afraid to touch it. Like,
but again, I think we have the technology now. I think you could make a fucking incredible Superman game.
I'm just saying.
Yeah. As far
as what has come out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that might be I was almost leaning towards X-Men too, but like they have that one arcade game that's better than.
Yeah, they have like the X-Men Legends games. Those are good.
Yeah, those were fine. Yeah, those were good. But
I like the two Wolverine games. The
Wolverine games are pretty good too. Yeah. They do fine.
I was actually gonna say like NASCAR, because I think it's boring as shit, and like I don't like. There's not much you can do with it, really.
Yeah. You turn left. It's good.
Yeah.
Fine. No, what you do, Julian, is you turn. Okay, the best one is I don't remember what it's called. I think it's just called NASCAR Racing. It was one of the earliest ones that was 3D, and it was on PC. And I believe my cousins had it. And what you did was you turned off the damage for your car and all the damage on for everybody else's car, and then you flip that fucking car backwards and play Demolition Derby with everybody.
There you go.
Until they all are crashed, and then you just win by default.
I really need them to bring back really fun destructible cars. Everybody's too chicken to do non-licensed vehicles these days.
I know.
And the license holders are too chicken shit to allow their cars to get banged up, which I don't understand.
Did you ever play Wreckfest?
That was an original Xbox game, right?
No, Wreckfest was I believe Xbox One. Had some pretty good. It was kind of like like a spiritual successor thing to like Destruction Derby. It was actually not bad. Actually, not bad. I had a good time with it.
I liked that multiplayer car combat game that was on the PlayStation 5, like right around, like not that long after launch. They made it free for PS Plus. It didn't. I only played it for like
I remember. I know which one you're talking about. Demolition something.
Yeah,
I can't remember the name.
I don't know if it's even running anymore. I have a feeling it's shut down.
Yeah.
Bring back Burnout, or I'll be curious to see what happens with GTA 6. Because they never use licensed vehicles.
No, they never do. No.
but at the same time,
I
mean, we'll see.
they don't need to. That game
They don't need to,
made
yeah.
a shitload of money and it does.
At this point, people would be disappointed if they didn't have the GTA
if
brands.
if there's no Banshee, if there's no,
Mhm.
all that stuff, you'd be bummed. Because I always that was one thing I did like about that series, or do like about that series, is like, okay, what's this car look like this time? There's a thing to that.
Mhm.
But yeah, no. Now, I mean, NASCAR is boring, but yeah.
Yeah. For me, yeah, it's definitely like a lot of sports stuff, simply because I think that there's not anything fun being done with any of those anymore. We've gotten so far away from like arcadey shit.
I guess, but if we're talking historically, though, there have been good basketball games and good, NHL games and stuff like that in the past and stuff like that. So,
yeah.
I'm trying to think of a good Superman game. It's tough.
There's an arcade game that's pretty good.
Okay.
That came out around like 88 or 89.
Okay.
I really like that one a lot. It's a side scroller.
Yeah, I think I know which one
Taito.
you're talking about.
All right. Next from Xavier, he says, I'll add the link if anyone wants to see it, but recently at GDC, Cameron Williams of Red Dead and GTA spoke about how their game data shows most players of open world games don't explore the world much. Whether because they don't have time for side stuff, there is too much or not enough, and they become disinterested, or just because they only want to mainline the story. Do you guys have any ideas of stuff that could be done in modern open world gaming to push more players to explore worlds in depth?
Yeah, I do. Okay, I would immediately ask this person, okay, what do you mean by explore the open world? Because if you mean, just go out into the emptiness, that's kind of boring. Like you have to, the thing is, I'm gonna give credit to a game that I don't really care about, and that's like Zelda, the newer ones, where they're constantly kind of like, hey, look at that thing over there, or Elden Ring even, what's that thing over there? What the fuck is that? Let me go see. You have to put elements in there to make people want to go see. Red Dead does not do that. Their open world design does not do that. There's nothing in their games that really makes you want to go and see what the fuck is what the fuck is that? What is that?
Yeah.
I need to know.
And part of that is because they are constrained to the real world,
to
right?
realism, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. But that's where we it gets dicey.
Yeah.
The way they could do it with realism is like, especially with GTA coming up, and they've kind of alluded towards this, is like, hey, there's a bunch of buildings, you can go in all of them, and you never know what's going to be inside. So then I'd be like, okay, there's a building over there, I wonder what's in there, that'd be a way to get me to explore a lot more. But yeah, to me, that's what it is.
I think for me, it depends on what the setting is, right? So if we're talking about a GTA setting where it's like mostly a city, then I want the city to be, well, I think this actually applies to both settings. I want a smaller area in general with more interesting things to do in said area. So for a city, exactly, I want to go into buildings more often. I want those buildings to actually be interesting, either from an exploration standpoint or from a story standpoint,
or just have actual characters in there that are gonna actually talk to you and do stuff. That's another way.
I keep saying that if they can crack the code of what I thought GTA 3 was going to be, which is the Shenmue style of these characters are living and breathing in this place and have a schedule, and there's places where they go,
right,
combined with GTA's crime. I think it would be really cool if you could just fucking take somebody out of the story because you sniped them coming out of their penthouse one day. I think that would be pretty neat.
Yeah, that'd be neat.
As far as more fantasy or past settings, I just need to, in most cases, I need less real estate, and more interesting things on the horizon.
Right.
Now there are caveats to that. When I played Final Fantasy 15, I really hated how boring and desolate the open world was.
Sure.
Until I took my road trip out to California, and I understood what they were going for.
Yeah.
And it is 100% driving out to California. And
Sure.
once I had that context, I was like, this is kind of brilliant. Like
Okay.
they nailed that feeling of being on this long road trip, like, you know, out in the countryside and stuff
Right.
like that. I still think there should be more things in that game to do, like when you get out of the car.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure.
But also there's a lot of like problems with 15's story structure in general that, you know,
It has a lot. Yeah.
yeah. But even like The Witcher 3, which is like one of my favorite open world games, you know, of the last 10 years.
Yeah.
Like I remember when I played it, I was like, man, there's parts of this game where I just wish that like there was like less space between
I
these
agree.
villages.
I agree, because yeah, you're just going from village to village because that's where the stuff is. That's the
Yeah.
stuff you want to see. So yeah, that's the exploration angle. That's where that if you want players to explore, you gotta really like kind of guide them a little bit. Like that's a lot of what it is. I think.
Yeah. And I want like stuff to feel more organic. So I remember like Witcher 3 was really good about that, where I felt that I was like kind of stumbling upon people in need of help. And they would call out to me and I would be like, well, let me see what they need.
Right.
But it breaks for me if they're always out there like waiting to ask for your help. So I think there also needs to be an element of stuff that you can miss.
Right.
Which I know that's very controversial in video games. I've been on about this ever since Mass Effect fucking 1. I like the idea of not seeing everything because of choices that you made.
Right.
And like, you know, someone calling out, you know, because they're being attacked and you don't respond to that. Well, guess what? They fucking got attacked and now they're either dead or, you know, like they don't need your help anymore because they already got robbed or what have you. Yeah. Instead of them just like, hey, you, blah, blah, blah. You know, sometimes that works, but I would like to see some places where it's like, no, this is, I think actually Dragon's Dogma 2 does that, where there are like quests where like, if you don't like come
time sensitive. Yeah.
I
think there are,
but I'm also not sure if it doesn't start the timer until you accept the quest, or if there's certain quests where if you don't engage with them at all, they're just done.
I got no idea.
Yeah.
There's a couple games that play around with some of those concepts, but trying to think of which ones, but not off the top of my head. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I feel like we've nailed that one, at least for us.
Yeah. It takes a bit for me to like really like sink into an open world game. I will say that I think the Horizon games do it really well. As far as they actually do have like really good points of interest when you're just like exploring, where it's like, oh, what's going on over there? I want to see that. Combined with like some Witcher 3 style, like organic, like quests that open up and
they
stuff
do
like
a
that.
lot with like, what's that big thing over there? Let me go see. And yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I think there's just like, especially the second game, there's just like too much. Like,
the second game, it's a lot.
Yeah. And I'm still, I know I mentioned this with Assassin's Creed last week, but I keep thinking about it because I can already feel it now that I'm in the open world, is that, again, I can't help but compare it to a Like a Dragon game where it's like, I'm going to start out where I want to do everything, and I'm going to get to a point where I'm like, there's too much goddamn game in this video game.
Oh, yeah.
Where, you know, all of the Like a Dragon games, I feel like you could take a good 25 or 30% offer, and that would be like just right.
Right.
And then just like hold some of that stuff back for a later game, guys. You know, like you're giving me too much bang for my buck.
Right.
And I don't appreciate it.
I agree.
All right. Well, last but not least, from Mike Fallick.
Oh boy.
He says, I know I didn't at Julian Titus and at Tyrone Swift correctly last time. Apparently I wasn't supposed to at Tyrone Swift or at Julian Titus. Just watch a history of the Xbox One launch on YouTube. I didn't realize how bad it went for Microsoft. I play a ton of cloud gaming. Wanted to know if you two have any thoughts on always online console in 2025.
We're already there, man.
Yeah.
Like, we're already there.
Thing is like, even back when, like, well, I should say, like the Xbox One reveal was a disaster. Because not only was it this always online bullshit, but it was $100 more and less power than the PlayStation 4. So like, you know, once I remember that day very well because the Microsoft press conference was first, and I pre-ordered an Xbox One. I had it in my cart on Amazon because it used to be much easier to fucking pre-order a console back then.
It was, yeah.
And then the Sony conference happened that evening, and I immediately went to Amazon, took the Xbox out of the cart, and put the I actually ended up. I did put the PlayStation 4 in the cart, but then I ended up picking up at Best Buy instead because I had a friend who worked at Best Buy, and I thought I'd give her the sale.
Oh, there you go.
But no, it was a disaster. If you even to this day, if you ask people who were either early adopters or mid cycle adopters, they will probably still say, "Oh no, I didn't want to get the Xbox because it's always online."
Yeah,
and they still think it's always online.
Yes, yeah. I mean, it kind of is, I guess. Like a lot of them are.
Yeah, I mean, most of the consoles kind of are now.
Most of them are. It's just it was all in the wording and the timing of the fucking thing, man.
Yeah,
which is wild. Like people heard that and were just like, "No, absolutely not."
Yeah,
and then it just kind of ended up doing it anyway. But like some of them were like, "Yeah, just don't tell them. It's fine." What do they know?
There's an article that I wrote on Pixelbit at the time that was basically, look, this sucks, but this is the future.
That's like, what's going to happen.
You may not like it, but this is where we're headed. It may not be right now, but it's coming. And,
yeah. You know, it was like I said, like you said, it was just a bad announcement, bad time to do it, and
it was overall bad. Like you had Don Matrick just like the worst like pitch for it. And then when asked about what about people that want to like share their games, and he says, well, we have a console for that. It's called the Xbox 360.
Yeah.
And it's like, that was the don't you all have phones of its day.
Oh, that's bad. Yeah.
Yeah. And he just came off as just such a prick. And, you know, like he was out of there pretty fast. And then Phil Spencer came in, and Phil Spencer was a breath of fresh air, but it took a long time for Phil to like start to bring the like better sentiment around. And a big part of it was Game Pass. That was a really good idea. And a lot of it was like they started to do like some really good like consumer first type stuff that you know, I don't think Sony or Nintendo were doing. Granted, I think a lot of that was because they were in desperation mode. I think if they had been in the lead, they wouldn't have done a lot of the stuff that they did.
No, probably not.
And I think probably it's time, even though they're still not in the lead, you know, we've talked about like, they probably shouldn't be like giving away like their first party games day one on Game Pass. That should be a thing that comes to Game Pass later. Like, I think they're just missing out on game sales. I think you and I would still be buying fucking like Fable and I would have bought Indiana Jones, and like we would have bought Avowed, right? Like that's just the thing. I just would have done it.
I did buy Avowed, actually. I bought it on Steam. So there you go. There's your answer.
But it's interesting that Mike actually wrote that in, because it gives me an opportunity to laugh at Nintendo. Did you happen to see the Nintendo Direct this week?
I didn't see the Direct.
Okay.
I haven't seen that.
Well, then do you not know
about what?
That there's no sleep for Konami Date?
No, I didn't know that.
There's no sleep for Konami Date, Justin. They're doing a new eye.
Oh, that's good. Okay, all right.
Takes place between 1 and 2.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay.
You got to save Iris from aliens.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Sure. Why not?
You know you're on board. You know you're fucking on board.
Oh, I'm down. Yeah. No, I'm down. You still got to play 2 all the way.
I got to finish 2. Yeah. Especially because this is coming this year.
Yeah.
So, but I was super excited for that. No, but Nintendo's big thing was virtual cartridges, which is a way to play your digitally bought games on other Switches that you may own. To which I'm like, God, you guys are fucking behind the times.
Virtual cartridges. Okay, I'm trying to. Okay, explain it.
So
okay,
and let me say, I may have misunderstood the way this works. The way that I understood it is that every one of your digital purchases will now be turned into a virtual cartridge. You can move that virtual cartridge between Switches, including, you would eject the cartridge from your main Switch and then log into like your other, like, let's say that you have like, a Switch OLED and you have like a Switch Lite, right? So you want to take your Switch Lite on vacation, you would eject that cartridge from your main Switch, load up your profile on your Switch Lite, and then plug that cartridge into that other Switch, and now you can play it on there. To which I was like, you know what I don't have a problem with on an Xbox? Is playing my fucking owned games on my Xbox. All I have to do is sign in on a Microsoft device.
Yeah.
Any Microsoft device, and I can fucking play my games, guys. Yeah, it's not that hard.
I do. I've done it on my PC before where I'm just like, oh yeah, they're signing the Game Pass, and now I did it with Iodine Chronicle, I remember, and stuff like that. Like, yeah. Like I don't when
I upgraded from the Xbox One X to the Series, you know what I did? I input my name and my username and password, and then all of my games were there.
They already kind of do something like, I don't know what the bravado is. That's weird.
So here's the part that is cool, but I can see where this can turn into a problem later on as well.
Yeah,
you can loan out those virtual cartridges to other people. So
okay,
you can but I think you have to do it in person. So like if you had like a family member with another Switch, or you had a friend with their Switch,
okay,
they can like bring it over, and then you can say, hey, like we're in like, you know, near field view, like range. I can give this game to you, and you can hold on to it for 2 weeks.
I gotcha.
And you can play it. I can't play it during that time.
I was going to say, you can't play it during that time. I mean, that's kind of how it works, like regular, because I messed with that with my niece's Switch, where I signed into it and then downloaded a bunch of stuff onto it. And then because I barely play it, I was like, you can just sign in under me, and you're me, and you play my games. And then I think one time I was trying to play something, and they were trying to play the same thing, and it didn't work.
Right.
Because it was like, oh well, you're already there, and I was like, oh okay.
Yeah.
But
I do see potential problems with this. One of which is like, so if I forgot to eject it from the other Switch, does that mean that it's not available on this one?
Well, you left it at home. You know, what are you going to do?
Oh, man. Yeah, like...
I don't know, man.
It's like, hey, guys, we found a way to acknowledge that you bought stuff on our store, and it's like the weirdest, most cumbersome thing you can think of.
It's so annoying.
Yeah.
That's so annoying. That's so weird.
Again, I may be misunderstanding the concept of it. People were so excited for this. I'm like, I don't know that you should be excited about this.
I'm wondering if it's their way of. I'd have to watch it to make sure. Was there any other like big announcements that I should watch it for? Because I'm kind of.
There's stuff that I was really happy to see there.
I'll check it out. I wondered if there was. I know I seen like some announcement of like an app that people were kind of making fun of.
The funny thing is that wasn't in the Direct.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, there's a Nintendo News app now.
Okay.
And they've already started like releasing news to there that they're not releasing anywhere else.
That's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it. Now
it seems like this weird thing that they don't want people like rebroadcasting their directs and shit like that. Nintendo's
they're
so
a weird
bizarre.
company, man.
They are, man. But for me, it was the like actual release date announcement of Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD, which I've already pre-ordered. There's a Gradius collection, that has like all the Gradius games and some of the Salamander games.
Okay, neat.
So that's very exciting. And actually the biggest part of that collection, a fucking brand new Salamander game.
Okay.
In the year of our Lord 2018. Salamander 3, so that's really cool.
Okay.
I just wish that it had a couple Parodius games on there, because I've never played Parodius.
Yeah.
And as far as I know, like there hasn't been any included in any collections or anything like that.
Yeah.
Still happy to see it.
Yeah.
There's a new Tomodachi Life, which is actually pretty crazy that they're finally making a sequel to that.
Tomodachi Life. Is that that's the Wii people? Oh, I forgot what the
Mii's?
Mii's, that's it.
Yeah. On 3DS.
Yes.
With like the weird like AI voice over stuff.
Yes. My niece is gonna freak the fuck out. She loves that shit. Oh,
okay,
God.
yeah. A lot of people were super excited for that.
Yeah.
I always wanted to play Tomodachi Life, but I never got around to it.
Oh, it's wild.
I know I'm not going to play this one either.
Me neither. But like, oh yeah, no, it's wild. Like it's fucking crazy.
Yeah. There's a remake of Pokemon X and Y called ZA.
Okay.
And I was looking at it and I was like, this looks too good for what I've seen of the Pokemon games lately. And it
Sure.
made me wonder if they were like showing like actual like Switch 2 footage, but they didn't want to say it because it is going to be on the Switch 1, but it's going to look
Yeah.
and run like shit.
Which I before I forget, that's what I'm wondering if that virtual cartridge stuff is actually for, so they can.
Oh, I mean,
it
they
was
already said
probably
that like it'll work on
some-
Switch 2.
Yeah,
So.
some way to like that was their way of implementing it, like the
Yeah.
cross compatible stuff or something like that.
Again, you know how I did that on
You
the
could,
Xbox?
I know, I
just-
don't get it either,
I just
but
signed
like,
into my account. Now, I will say Sony is still a little behind the times as well, because there I had to actually like copy stuff over, which is pretty annoying. Unless you just want, I mean, you can just like
you can
sign into the
re-download it,
system
right?
and re-download
Yeah,
shit,
yeah.
which is probably what I should have done
That's
anyway.
probably
'cause
the
it's
easiest way
faster.
to do it. Yeah, honestly.
So there was like a lot of solid stuff where I was like, oh yeah, like, you know, that's cool. And but I mean, a lot of it's coming to PC and PlayStation and shit. And then Metroid Prime 4 looks really good, but again, I'm like, are you actually showing Switch footage here? Because like I feel like you're trying to, like, I don't know, it looked too good for the Switch.
Mhm.
But we
Tough to
shall
say.
see.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you know, actually the day that this episode goes out publicly will be like the big Switch 2 reveal. So we'll talk about that on the next episode.
There you go. Yeah.
So that's your homework for next week, Justin. is to
Sure,
be sure
I'll
to
watch the
that.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would have watched this thing. I just didn't know it came out. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
well.
A
I
lot of
heard
people were really like disappointed with it. I thought it was
Okay.
fine. I thought there was actually like surprisingly like interesting games, and also just like, oh shit, I can't believe they're doing that
Yeah.
type of thing. There's like a game, I think it's called Witchbrook Academy. It's like a, you know, like it looks like Stardew Valley, but you're going to like a magic academy, and you know, going to classes and, you know,
Okay.
building
Sure. Why
things and
not?
brewing potions and stuff. It actually looks pretty nice.
Yeah. All right.
Probably
Why
not
not?
something I'm gonna play, but it looks cool.
Me and farming games. I'm telling you.
Yeah, I see the appeal, but it's not
I
for
think
me.
they're really cool. I loved Stardew, and
Mhm.
and then it's sort of like everyone I played since then, with the exception of Wanderstop, which is kind of really doing a different thing with the farming genre.
Mhm.
Has kind of just been like, yeah, I could just play Stardew, and it's kind of the same. So yeah.
Another big thing. I mean, definitely the biggest thing for me was the no sleep for Kaname Date.
Sure.
But they announced a new Marvel beat 'em up called Marvel Cosmic something that looks really good. It's
Okay.
I think it's the same people that did like the Ninja Turtles game that came out about 2 years ago.
Okay. Yeah.
And it's got like 15 characters to choose from. And Wolverine is in my favorite Wolverine costume, which is the gold and brown from the 80s, which,
Yeah.
you know, so that actually looks really cool.
That's cool.
Up to 4 players, but like but you also like, you pick a character and you pick like a team up character. So you're doing like assist moves like on Marvel vs. Capcom.
Yeah.
So that
That
actually
might be
looks pretty
neat.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds cool.
All really nice, like sprite art, like hand drawn
Yeah.
sprites.
They're going.
So-
They're going for that era of beat 'em up. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a good way. That's a good idea.
Hopefully it's better than the G.I. Joe and Power Rangers ones that came out recently, because those are pretty trash.
Apparently those weren't very good. Yeah.
But
Yep.
yeah, I think that's a show,
I
Justin.
think that's a show, Julian.
Yes. A little bit of a short one, but reminder
Yeah,
that,
it's
you know,
fine.
we did record another podcast.
I was gonna say
This night.
it feels like we've been here for a long time, and I was like, but why? And yeah, I forgot we did a whole
Yeah.
other thing.
It's Scotster Day now. We've been here so long.
It is Scouser Day, but
Yeah.
you know. All right, I'll hit the button.
I like that I've come around on it, and you're now like now you're like, oh, he's come around on it. I don't want to push the button.
No, I'll press the button. That's fun. No, it's funny as I always forget how much I like it until it starts playing. And then I start to get into it at the end, and then I cut it off at a certain point, and then I go, "Oh, it's over." Shit. I get like bummed out because I want to. I bum myself out. It's good.
You can find us on the internet, Justin.
You can find me on twitch.tv/Tyrone Swift. Probably streaming WWE stuff. I did a really stupid thing that's going to be really funny to show people. It's real dumb. I might do more dumb stuff before it. Who knows? And also, if you don't want to watch that on a weird Saturday night, you can wake up in the morning and watch it at Tyrone Swift TV on YouTube.
When are you going to make us a tag team, Justin?
I might be halfway there, Julian.
Cool.
Yeah.
You can find me on the internet on Blue Sky. Just search for Julian Titus. The show is on Twitter at Stage Select Pod. Thanks as always to the wonderful Megan McDuffie for our theme song and interstitial tracks. Thanks to friend of the show, John Gholson, for being our announcer and providing us with our artwork. But that is going to do it for this edition of the Stage Select. I've been Julian Titus. He's been Justin Ham. We've been the Stage Select. Signing off.
Uh-huh.
The Stage Select is copyrighted and owned by Space Monkey Mafia Productions, specializing in independent podcasting. Please consider sharing the show with your friends and support us by joining our Patreon or donating to our coffee. Thank you, and good night.